Mariners lose 4-2. They guarantee the loss in the series because they're 0-2 in it, and they're only going to play 3 games. That's how that works. They fall to 35-37 on this season. Let's talk about quickly how it happens. This game was not as close as this score indicates. Jake Bauers homers with a runner on to make it 2-0. Billy McKinney homers to make it 3-0. Excuse me, 3-0. I'm right. I'm doing great. And Anthony Volpe homers to left center in the 7th to make it 4-0. Dylan Moore hits a pinch hit home run to make it 4-1. Kelnick hits a sacrifice fly that scores Julio to make it 4-2 in the 9th. It was not this close. All right, let's just get this out of the way. Umpiring was pathetic tonight. Phil Kesey sucks at his job. He's terrible. He is an embarrassment. I don't give, you can show me all of the umpire scoreboard crap you want. He sucks. And not only does he suck, he's a crappy person when he's doing it. He has entitlement issues that are so blatantly obvious that it's not fun to watch him. If you gave me a choice to watch a whole bunch of games and you gave me, you're telling me who the umpires are for these games, Angel Hernandez, CB Buckner, Laz Diaz, and Phil Cuzzy, the games that are umpired by those guys, I'm passing because they frustrate me too much. They're terrible. Cuzzy is terrible. It was a garbage strike zone tonight. The highlight will be that Teoscar Hernandez strike, which is just so laughably bad and so incomprehensively incompetent. A stunk. However, he's not the reason why the Mariners lost today. Because he was bad on the other side too. He's just terrible. Give me the gosh damn robot umpires now. That's my first real swear. But I'm done watching them. Give me those robots ASAP. Or if you're not going to give me that, give me a challenge system. Because this is unbelievably gross to watch. Tired of it. I'm tired of it. Okay, let's talk about some positives. Julio drawed a couple walks. It's nice to see. The average has dropped to 239 because he goes over 2. But it's nice to see that the on-base percentage is about 60 points ahead of the on-base. The on-base percentage is about 60 points ahead of the average. Kind of like where you'd want to see for a guy like Julio. I'm not expecting him to be Juan Soto 410, 420 because his aggressiveness is part of what makes him so good. Want to see those hits start dropping in. But it is nice to see a couple of walks. Kelnick, drives in a run, picks up a hit. Things have been much better for him over the last 4 or 5 games. It sure seems like anyway. Nice after I complained about Dylan Moore. And not complaining about Dylan Moore, the player, just the Dylan Moore results. Nice to see him get that pinch hit home run. Nice to see any hit. I think that was his first hit of the season. Pretty sure. Anyway, Brash was fine. Actually had to work around some command issues. But again, Phil Cuzzy had something to do with that. Sauceda was fine. Gabe Spire does give up the home run. It's going to happen. All right. Luis Castillo was pretty shaky. And again, hurt by the umpiring. So was the other guy, although we'll talk about that in just one sec. Hurt, certainly, by some questionable calls. But he didn't have a great swing and miss stuff. And this is a lineup that you would expect Luis Castillo to pitch better against. Like, no Giancarlo Stanton, who has been awful. Let's just be blatantly clear about that. But let's look through this New York Yankee lineup right now. Jake Bauers, organizational depth, a guy the Mariners had at one point and was let go of with absolutely zero fanfare. Gleyber Torres, pretty good player. Willie Calhoun, designated for assignment. Anthony Rizzo, pretty good player. Josh Donaldson, awful. Harrison Bader, good defensive player. Okay, offensive player. Billy McKinney, designated for assignment a bunch of times. Kyle Higashioka, the definition of a backup catcher. And Anthony Volpe, struggling rookie. This is not a good baseball team right now, folks. This is not just, Aaron Judge is gone, so that automatically hurts them. No, it's a bad lineup. How many of those guys would you want playing? Actually, okay, don't tell me how many of these guys are upgrades over the Mariners, because that's, darning with faint praise. How many of those guys would you actually want on your roster, on the Yankees roster? And this is not hating on the Yankees. I think if you ask any Yankee fan right now, they're frustrated as heck by what's going on. How many of these guys do you actually want on your team? I'd take Anthony Rizzo. I'd take Gleyber Torres. Oh, certainly over what the Mariners are getting at second base. Anthony Volpe in the long term is going to be an awesome player. You know, Harrison Bader's a nice little outfielder, flawed player, but very good defender. Gets hurt a lot. Just came off the injured list not too long ago. Don't want Willie Calhoun. Don't want Josh Donaldson. Don't want Jake Bowers. Don't want Billy McKinney, even though he's hitting 317, 333, 659. That sample size is far too small. But this is not the case of the mighty Yankees. The mighty Yankees destroying the poor Mariners, those poor small market Mariners. No, this is a mediocre lineup at best that is missing the MVP in baseball. And even with Judge, it's not that great. And the Mariners have gotten crushed. And I know they only lost by 2 last night, and I know they lost by 2 tonight. They have been thoroughly outplayed in all 5 games that they've played against this team, and it's pathetic. But I thought Castillo was just okay tonight on a night where, look, it's another night where your ace of the staff you don't get a win from him. And sometimes it's been a little bit Castillo's fault. Tonight was pretty mediocre. And sometimes it's been the offense just hasn't given him any run support. Displayed run support. I don't know what the hell that means. I'm frustrated, folks. The bottom of the lineup was so bad tonight. Cal Raleigh, who was, playing pretty well as of late, like late, as of late, bad. Mike Ford, terrible. Colton Wong, terrible. Why is Colton Wong on this roster? Explain it. It can't be anything other than financial reasons at this point. There's no way in hell they believe that this is the best option right now. There's no way in heck his veteran leadership is so valuable that he's hitting 154 and slugging 179 with a 245 on base percentage and playing bad defense. Why is he on the roster? We are halfway through the season in about a week. And you are putting up with this from AJ Pollock, who, again, pinch hit, doesn't do crap, and Colton Wong. The two are combining for an OPS that would barely be a middle of the order hitter. Combining! Why is Colton Wong, and honestly, why is AJ Pollock on this roster? And you know the exact reason why. It's money. It's because we have a cheap ownership group that puts up with this crap, that is willing to do this to save money. Most profitable team in baseball. And again, the only reason why you shouldn't take those figures seriously is because they're not telling you enough about how much gosh dang gunny this team is making. They do not help this roster, and they are only here because the Seattle Mariners don't want to spend more money. And what it is they don't want the sunken ship. They don't want the sunken cost of Colton Wong and AJ Pollock. They should not be on a roster right now. Or if they should be on a roster, it shouldn't be the Seattle Mariners. Why are they here? Like, yeah, I want to go on another. I don't really want to, but I could easily go on a rant just about how terrible umpiring is right now. And by the way, again, it's not just baseball. It's not just Seattle Mariners stuff. Go take a look at the last 2 nights, the calls of the protecting the plate stuff. And I want to make this abundantly clear. I get erring on the side of caution. I do not want these guys to get hurt. You have to protect these players. We know so much about CTE, and we know so much about head injuries, and we know so much about, how much more uh, medical advances are amazing. So you do have to protect these players. But both of those calls are pathetic. And the fact that replay was what determined them, pathetic. Got to fix that rule. I'm frustrated, folks. I'm frustrated because these are fixable things. They were fixable things for the Seattle Mariners too, and now I don't know. You are now 35 and 37 in a year where you were supposed to compete for a world championship. And you still could. You still could. It's not too late. I refuse to give up on this year. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to give up on this year. I'm going to yell and scream when they play like this, but I am not doing it. I refuse to give up on this year. I refuse to play that game. But god darn it, play better and fix this roster. Tomorrow we have Brian Wu against Franklin German. And look, I think I'd probably, or excuse me, Franklin German. Goodness gracious, Chris, how old are you? Domingo Herman, excuse me. Franklin German, I don't think has been in the league in a long time. My goodness gracious. See what you're doing to me, Seattle Mariners? Domingo German versus Brian Wu. Very winnable. But I don't love having to rely on a rookie who has one good start under his belt. Maybe two. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Colton Wong and AJ Pollock are still on this roster and starting games. By the way, JP Crawford did not play today as expected. I believe he went with an MRI. Here's hoping that's not an injured list stint. As frustrated as I get with JP Crawford, not about him. I don't know how many more times I can say that. It's not about him, the person, or even him, the player. It's about the fact that the Mariners should have gone out and upgraded that position and moved JP Crawford to second base. Would have been just fine there. That's a frustrating loss. That's not a frustrating loss because, like, the loss on Saturday was frustrating because I think you outplayed the team, and it was just like a reminder of how thin the margins are. Tonight's loss and yesterday's loss, but especially tonight's loss, is a reminder that this team is extremely flawed. Extremely. There are a lot of flawed teams in baseball. There sure are. But there's not many who had the chance to get better in 2023 like the Mariners did, and they got it wrong. Gosh, getting swept. Getting swept would mean falling 3 games under 500. It means you lose 4 out of 5. It means that you would have to sweep Baltimore in order to have a 500 road trip. This isn't good, folks. It's not over. It's not even close to over. But it is such a hole again. I'm almost scared to look at the standings right now. Should I? Is this just going to make me mad? Yeah, this is just going to make me mad. Well, Just look at the scores. Good for the Reds, by the way. This is fun to watch. Somebody joked on Twitter that Luis Castillo probably wishes he was still in Cincinnati. I'm not sure about that one because Luis Castillo got a pretty good paycheck with the Mariners, but it was funny. It did make me giggle. If you'd like to make me giggle, you can follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Please don't give up on this year. Be frustrated. Let the folks know that you're not happy with this. Doesn't make you a bad fan to be frustrated. It doesn't make you a bad fan to be optimistic either. We'll never fangate. But, oh boy, this is not good. This is not good. And I don't know. Bye.